There it is. Hey y'all, I'm back from the dead, and I'm gonna be getting back into making my random videos about whatever shiny object I happen to be obsessing over at the time. And right now, it's e-bikes. So let's chat about this beast. This thing is awesome. So this is the Wallke H6 dual battery, fat tire, folding, full suspension, 35 amp hour, 32 mile an hour tank. It's about 90 pounds of fun right there, boy. So why did I choose to buy this bike? Well, I love my first electric bike, but it's a cruiser, no suspension, 500-watt motor, does 28 miles an hour, but you're lucky to get 30 miles of range out of it. And I love my CT90. Great on the trails, good little commuter even, but it's heavy, it's a motorcycle. Throwing it in the back of the truck's kind of a chore. And at this point, it's a vintage heirloom. It's 50 years old. So I'm kind of trying to keep the mileage down on that these days. Well, combine those two bikes, and there you have it. That's the critter right there. So another thing that helped me out with this purchase were a couple of great videos here on YouTube that go over all the specs and pros and cons of this bike and really put it through its paces. And they do a much better job than I could. So I'm just gonna throw a link to the description in those if you want more detailed, in-depth specs and analysis. But what I want to talk about is a few issues I had with it. It came boxed really well. Wallke did a great job communicating with me. I really feel like they're on top of it. But there's just some things that bothered me, and I'm going to focus on those and show you how I dealt with them. The first thing out of the box I had to deal with were the handlebars. This thing is a giraffe as it is, especially compared to a cruiser. And the handlebars would only go down that far. So what I did was cut about 1.5 inches, 40 mil in Canada, off the end of the tube, and now I can slide them all the way down as far as they go. Doesn't seem like a huge difference, but trust me, it made it a lot more comfortable. And this is a little minor change. The screen was actually inverted. It was like way up here. So I flipped the bracket, had to trim a little tab off the back of the screen to make it fix. It's kind of keyed, but 5 minutes, flipped it over, and I just like the way that looks. It's just nice, low profile. And out of the box, the handlebars come sticking straight up, so just tilted them back a little bit, no biggie. And now it's pretty comfy. It's something I could get used to. I'm cool with it. It's as low as we're gonna go. Now the cable management on this bike is done pretty well. They use these spiral wraps, so like when I turned over the screen, it was really easy to get in there and dial all that stuff in and get it how I liked it. And same thing down here. When the bike comes, you have to install this light/horn, so it's not a part of the system. So you just kind of wrap it up in there and tuck it away and make it all nice and tight. The main harness coming from the handlebars really sticks out a little far for my taste. It was a little bit awkward, so I threw an old cat collar on there and keeps it nice and tight. So now let's talk about some things that came with or on the bike that I either had to swap out or generally have no use for. Let's start with the pedals here. These are actually really nice. They're pretty decently built, heavy-duty, all-metal folding e-bike pedals. They're Wallke branded. They're really cool, but they're just a little bit on the petite side for me. I actually like to stand and ride a lot, and I just like to have a bigger pedal. These aren't that much bigger, but a little goes a long way when it comes to this. And I just feel a lot more stable with these guys. These are the Ride Race Face pedals, and not too expensive. They're like 45 bucks. And it just made a huge difference to me. The chrome alley axles and really good bearings. I dig them. So that had to happen. Okay, what's next? Oh, these mirrors. They're actually really well built, all metal, except for the plastic housing. They're actually really nice, but they're a little goofy looking for my taste. And you know, they mount on the handlebars like around yay, and they stick way out, yet they only show you your elbows. So you'd have to run them way out here, which is just obviously super obnoxious. So that didn't happen. I just went with these regular cruiser style mirrors. I'm not sure what company that is. I stole it off that bike. But I like it. It's utilitarian, does the job. I only need one on the left side, and it rotates in. So when the bike's folded up, it doesn't stick out too far. I dig it. These go on a moped or something. Don't need them. Next up would be the phone mount it came with, which is, again, pretty good quality. It works really well, and I think it's meant to be mounted like up here, but I rotated it and inverted it, so I had it riding like that. Used it for my first ride and had my GPS going so I could match it up with the speedometer, which is actually pretty accurate. It was only off by a few tenths of a mile. But when you don't have your phone on there, which I normally don't, you hear that rattling? It drove me nuts. So I'm just gonna keep it in my bike bag, stick it on there if I wanna maybe make a video while I'm riding, but few and far between that's gonna happen. So use it if you want. So next up would be the auxiliary seat post it comes with. And that would be for if you're like 5'9" or less, maybe anything less than a 32-inch inseam, because the Springer style seat post it comes with, you can see I've got that all the way down as far as it can go, probably a little too far, and it's just right for me with my 32-inch inseam. If you're shorter than that, you're going to want to use this guy. See how low it goes. Now, this comes from the factory really tight, but it is adjustable. Let me show you a picture of that. And to adjust it, you're going to need a great big 12 mil hex head. I use a socket and adjust it to your liking. I've got it as loose as it'll go, so it's nice and cush. Speaking of cush, let's talk about the seat. So the seat that came on the bike is actually really good quality, like memory foam gel type stuff, really nice. But those are not springs. Those are like spring shaped grommets. So that didn't work for me, because I had this guy. Now I took this off my cruiser. Gel seat, drifter, proper Springer saddle. And when you lift it up to take the battery out, there's still plenty of clearance, no problem. So the seat that comes on the bike, it's not bad, but I have that. So something I want to think about. And then it also comes with a lock, and I haven't even tried it yet. Now people poo-poo this instantly just because, oh, it came free, so it must be crap. But let's check out my crypto lock. I have a U-lock too. Look at the diameter in comparison. That's a pretty beefy lock. The only reason I'm not down for using it is because of the length. It's pretty short. You know, this is much longer, so, you know, it's more versatile. But this is lightweight, you know, 5-digit code. I might play with that. I might kind of hang on to that, throw it in my bag, and put this back on my cruiser. I don't know. I don't have to lock my bike up very often. I'm either in the woods or at work, and I take it inside. But obviously, you always got to have a lock with you. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that rack. So when you take the bike out of the box, it's going to have this crazy little jump seat on it. Check that out. It's really nice. It's well made and really cool looking, actually, but not very practical. I guess a little kid can hang out in there and like hang on to the back of the battery, but there's no passenger pegs, so probably not a great idea. So you just pull a little set screw off of there from the underside, and you know, it's key slotted on there. Really well made, very nice, but not for me. So we're just gonna set that aside. Now the rack is a part of the frame. It's a beefy sucker. I mean, I think it's rated at like 150 pounds, and probably just because of the suspension on there, it looks like you can freaking tow an elephant on there. But my bike happened to come with this rack. I don't know if it was like a Black Friday thing. I wasn't expecting it, and they just kind of threw it in there with the package. Let's see if I can get that on there. This thing is heavy. I mean, that's like 15 pounds on an already heavy bike. But, well, look at that. Now we're utilitarian. Man, that looks great. So that really puts it on par with the CT90. See the rack on the back of that? But it's an actual basket. Man, I don't know. I think I'm going to get more use out of that than I thought. That is cool. A few extra little things it comes with. Obviously, the owner's manual. Now, folks have been poo-pooing this also, saying it doesn't give enough information on putting it together in the online reviews, but I think it's fine. It's full color. It's thick stock. It's a good manual. I think it's fine. There's a few typos, but it's not like crazy broken English like you come to expect with these sort of things. And it comes with a proper 15 mil box end for your front wheel and a full set of Allen keys, but you actually only need like the 2.5, 3, 4, and 5. So far, that's all I've needed for the handlebar stuff because they're all different, and I actually keep them in my bike bag. And that was the axle support that it came with. So let's talk about the charger. So this is the charger that came with my other bike. It's really heavy, but it's a good solid state transformer. You know, it's real heavy and beefy. I don't worry about breaking that. This is the charger that came with the Wallke. Comes with two of them, but they're both basically the same. I think one's 2 amp hour, one's 3 amp hours, so you get one for the larger battery, one for the smaller 14 amp hour battery. It's a much lighter, which is nice. Like you throw it in a backpack and barely feel it. And it has an integrated fan, which is nice. This doesn't get hot. That gets really hot. The cabling is a little bit lighter weight. You wouldn't want to drop this or have it rattling around too much. So I keep it in this little carrier bag, just kind of protect it a little bit. I'm not sure I really want to be cruising around with that in the back of a bike bouncing around the way I carry my other charger in the back of that bike. I would keep this one like in a backpack or something, because it's not flimsy per se, but it's not as beefy as one of these big solid guys. So that's something to think about. Alright, so that's all I got today. As for the Wallke H6, I'm looking forward to putting a lot more miles on it. So this is a decal. They're really nice, but I think I could probably get that off and add some real nice pinstriping to that. That'd be cool. Yeah, I've gotten into pinstriping after my surgeries. Not a whole lot of new content I could do with that until I get a little better. Been slammed though, man. I got 5 Beetles now. I've built a couple of cars for some clients, a great Baja. And I got a motor on the stand over there. Built a couple of mopeds and a couple of new motorcycles. This is a recent acquisition, both barn finds, and the 65 Bridgestone. That's kind of an odd duck. I built that to sell. It's restored, runs great, but it's a fun little ripper. I might hang on to it. I wrecked my Frontier, and we replaced it with a Tacoma, and we got to take it out camping, trying out a truck bed tent. So maybe there's some content there. I don't know. I'm gonna be doing a bunch of stuff, getting back into it, trying to make some new videos. So maybe stay tuned. Maybe throw me a like. You know. I gotten into wireless tattooing too. After 27 years using coil machines, I've gotten into the Bishop rotary wireless Bluetooth machines. My tattooing's on a whole new level. I don't know if it's a better level, but it's different and fun. Again, lots of content out there about this stuff. I don't know how much I can add to it, but you know, if I feel a froggy and want to add something, I'll stick it on here. Stay tuned. Appreciate you. Cheers.
Thanks for watching.
Like, share, and subscribe. Please and thank you.
Good job. Make sure you bring it back with a full tank.
Okay.